Slippery Spencer, written by Joey Turner, adapted for audio by the Sudrian A0. It was summertime on the island of Sodor. Spencer, the private engine, was visiting from the mainland again for the Duke and Duchess of Boxford's holiday. That afternoon, James was getting ready to leave with his passenger train to Crovin's Gate when Bill and Ben chuffed into the yard, full of mischief as ever.
Better be careful with those coaches, James. Unless you've got some extra bootlaces ready.
You know, little engines like you two are better seen and not heard. And maybe not seen at all.
What's this about bootlaces? Sounds like an interesting story indeed. Oh, please do tell. James looked pleadingly towards the twins, but it was no good. They told Spencer all about the time James needed a bootlace to mend a hole in his coaches. All three laughed while James squirmed in misery. Oh, don't look so solemn, James. It couldn't be helped. A common mixed traffic engine shouldn't be allowed to pull coaches anyway. Well, Mustache, I'm having my lovely coaches polished and refurbished at the works today. I'll be sure to ask if they do have any bootlaces to spare just for you, old boy. James held his tongue before he said anything he might regret. When James reached Crovin's Gate, he was still fuming.
Just disgusting. Nobody ever lets me forget that stupid bootlace story. That chucklehead Spencer wouldn't be laughing if it was him and his precious coaches.
Scarloey knew all about the incident and felt sorry for James.
Don't let him rattle you, James. Don't forget you became a better engine after that silly mishap. Spencer can't take that away from you.
I guess you're right, Scarloey. Still, I wish there was a way to pay him out.
James didn't know that his wish would come sooner than expected. At the works, Spencer's special coaches were polished and refurbished inside and out until they were gleaming like the sun. Victor wanted to do one last safety inspection on the coaches, but Spencer was too impatient. Private engines can't be kept waiting, Victor. The Duke and Duchess have an important meeting to attend. So Spencer left with the coaches before they could be inspected. He thought things were going well, but he didn't know that the brakes on one of his coaches were leaking. If the leak wasn't patched up soon, the brakes would slam hard on and be stuck. But Spencer was running so smoothly that he didn't even notice. At last, Spencer began to slow down as he pulled gently into the station just in time for the Duke and Duchess's important meeting with an old friend of theirs.
Matthew! Julien! What a lovely surprise!
Hello, Marge. We were on holiday and thought you'd like some company while your daughter's away. When it was time to go, Spencer was about to pull out of the station. But by then, the brakes on the front coach were hard on. It couldn't move. Spencer was very confused, so he decided to pull harder. He pulled and pulled and pulled some more. But the coaches didn't budge. By now, Spencer was becoming cross. He decided to pull even harder. The coaches creaked and groaned, The strain of Spencer's tugging was becoming too much for the stuck brakes, but Spencer just kept tugging. He heaved and tugged and pulled until... he finally moved! No one was hurt, but Spencer's pulling had ripped the corridor on his front coach clean off. The Duke and Duchess were most annoyed. Look at this, Spencer! Didn't Victor tell you to wait until after they were inspected? He may have mentioned something, Your Grace, but I didn't want you to be late, so... Then you should have waited. Being safe is more important than being punctual. Oh, the humiliation! Things can't possibly get any worse! Unfortunately for Spencer, things could get worse. And they did get worse as James arrived with the breakdown train to take the coaches back to the works. James didn't even try not to laugh.
Well. Looks like common private engines shouldn't be allowed to pull coaches. Eh, old boy?
Grr, at least my coaches don't need bootlaces to be fixed.
You're right. There aren't enough bootlaces on all of Sodor to fix your mess, Spencer.
Thank goodness you're here, James. Would you kindly take us to our seaside picnic, please? Spencer can take the coaches to the works as a punishment for his impatience.
James was delighted, while Spencer was left speechless and ashamed.
Ooh, I'd be honored, Your Grace.
So Spencer brought his coaches back to the works. This time, Victor kept a strict eye on Spencer to make sure he stayed away until the inspection was done. Meanwhile, James took the Duke and Duchess anywhere they wanted to be for the rest of the day. He was very gentle and made sure they had a wonderful afternoon. Of course, the story of Spencer's accident had spread throughout Sodor, and the other engines delighted in teasing him about it. But Spencer had other things to worry about, like what Bill and Ben would say the next time he saw them.